but because I'm pretty much as far south as I can get. The ocean, the Gulf Coast is like covers more than just the outlined coast on maps. It's it's also extended into the landscape too, causing like a lot of the areas along the coast to be designated as wildlife sanctuary areas. Undeveloped. There's a lot of undeveloped areas along the coast, and traveling over there is not easy with what I'm doing. Is I'm always in need of access to more supplies. Every day I'm shopping every day. So to go to the coast, there's not many cities. It's all just wildlife areas or whatever wildlife lives on the coast. So I'm not really exploring the the far the far coast so much. I'll take another look to see what the map shows for cities. But there's a Kennewick. Is Kennewick in Washington? And that's a little far away. I'm actually sticking around Louisiana a little bit. I guess this is Jennings, the gateway to the oil fields. So I haven't really noticed any oil pumps like I've seen elsewhere. There's no real clear oil pumps, but maybe as I go further towards New Orleans, I'll see the oil pumps. I'm not seeing them now, but this is it. This is where they've taken pictures of gushers in the early 1900s, and people have made a lot of money. This is the this is the part of the Louisiana that's been very profitable. But there's been a lot of controversy on where those profits have went. They start with the gushing of the oil, and then from there it's changed specific hands. They've been pretty tight on control over that resource. Stay away from the southern areas. I want to check out everything though. I don't want to. I mean, I'll go to it's. I look at it as more of a city by city in situation than a state by state situation. Uh, yeah, I'm still in Louisiana, and I want to get out as quickly as possible. But I mean, not all of Louisiana is terrible, like Natchitoches. It's there's a lot of different influences in the state itself that that like have an impact on people's culture. And this is an oil culture. I mean, how many? I've never been to a city that has two libraries across the street from each other. I mean, I've been to libraries that charge $1 a day. I think on one city in Texas, the very farthest south city there is in Texas, charges $3 a day for internet. I mean, I've been to a lot of different style libraries with the different Wi-Fi options from a band. Oh, I'm banned already. Yeah, there's some libraries that it's impossible to get banned. There's the impossible to get banned libraries, and then there's the highly sensitive libraries that you sneeze wrong and you're banned. There's such a variety out there. I've been to I think I've been to like libraries that have been mostly like underground mostly basement libraries, or libraries that have seven or nine stories, like in Salt Lake City, or just there's quite a few libraries that are just super tall, that'll have atriums on the roof. Unusually tall libraries. like in that one in Arizona. I forget the exact city. Yeah, maybe I think you might give in. There's such a wide variety of libraries. They're not like Walmart's. There's the classic Carnegie libraries, the old style, or the modern day new ones with their 3D printers that that are never used. 3D printing was pretty exciting for a while, but doesn't appear like they're used much. They just get unplugged and they'll sit there and get dust on them. I haven't seen many 3D printing stations at libraries. I don't know if Louisiana has a single one. I don't recall seeing any in Arkansas. Maybe Iowa. But there's some libraries that really embraced 3D printing technology areas, and I think it's largely donation based. Somebody maybe specifically asked that this library provide the latest technology for the kids to play with, so they decided that the 3D printing was the best choice. But yeah, I've been to a lot of different weird setups. Yeah, libraries that have been in banks, just libraries that have been in practically every building you could think of, like old restaurants and whatever buildings available, they can accommodate themselves. Just toss some books in, put some Wi-Fi up, and you got a library. The temporary places can get really tight. You sit in a lot of temporary places in between, I don't know, an old library and a new library. They'll have a temporary library. I'll sit right next to the librarian. That's what I recently did at, I don't know, somewhere west of here. I once thought being educated was a good thing. Oh man. You know, my burping has gotten worse too. It got better and then it started getting worse. I got some lemons. If they say apple cider vinegar is supposed to help, I'm going to try my lemons. I tried broccoli. I thought, what the heck, you know, broccoli's supposed to kill cancer. Maybe I'll eat broccoli a little bit, but that doesn't seem to stop the burping problems. But it comes and it's just incredible. Could be it's like either low stomach acid, poorly functioning gallbladder, or poorly functioning pancreas. All within the digestive system there. It's not doing great. So I'm slowly taking my time trying to figure out the stomach issues. But I'm not in a rush to move. No, I don't know if I don't think it's stress related anymore. The burping's still here, and I'm not stressed. While I'm talking, I guess it's a little more on the camera. It's maybe a little more stressful. I wouldn't have the burping stopping me if I was just sitting here not talking on the camera. So there is that stress. It starts out with throat clearing, and it's turned into a lot of burping. And if I want to like do like heavy exercise, it's really scary because I'll breathe really heavy, and then I'll also want to burp, and there's a corruption there, and I could choke myself off by my stomach. My stomach could cause me to just not breathe. That's how things progress. I haven't really figured out a great way to reverse it. I mean, I got more room and stuff in my car, but that's not exactly that's not the total solution. I had a handlebar, a handlebar that you grab right up here. I was hitting my head on that, so I pulled it out. I really like the space. I don't need to be holding anything like that. That piece of plastic. I still got the rear two. I accidentally broke out the one on the right, on the passenger side, and then finally I've gotten rid of this. Maximum headspace is more important than being able to grab a handle and like pull myself up or whatever. Maximum headspace for a car this small with a roof this low. I can't be that constricted. It's still constricting in here, but at least I can move my head. But yeah, I'm not in a rush to move. All I could do is move east. I'm not in a real big rush to do that. So usually, it takes when I get arrested, I use the arrest to slow my movement down while I research how to defend myself from the criminal charge. Usually that'll tie me up for the for the season. I'll just stay in the city and hang out and fight back. But I haven't needed to do that here lately. I'm still fighting Natchitoches, but there's really not much I could do. There's no hands-on work for me to do with that. So I'm just intentionally slowing. Being intentionally suspicious. Yeah, I followed the Mexican border, so that was cool. Yeah, I would be further south if I was in Texas. I went all the way to the furthest southern city, but that's not an option now as I'm on the eastern half. Yeah, I'm intentionally suspicious, and I'm hanging out. It's just amazing. There's places that just don't have any people that go and hang out there. I have great privacy, and the bathroom too. There's this park here, and nobody goes to it, and they leave the bathrooms open, and there's water. There's running water right now. I can just access water. It's good weather. So I'm intentionally slowing my movement down for this area just to hang out and relax. It's a little boring, but that's okay. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos, playing with my various sticks for exercise, just keeping to myself. I'm able to, and it's just such a nice area. I want to spend one more day here, and then I'll continue on to the eastern area. But this has been a really cool spot. It's surprising. Not all of Louisiana, they're not killing each other all over Louisiana. There's some cities that are pretty relaxed and you can just hang out. I mean, the only reason they keep the bathrooms unlocked is because there's no criminal activity. There's I mean, a lot of parks will shut down the bathrooms and even post the signs letting us know these bathrooms are shut down because of vandalism. But I'm in a city where the bathrooms, the doors are wide open. The water's running, and the toilets are not their toilets are not plugged up. It's just an area where, and no, I think there's a ski park even not far away from this spot I'm hanging out at. I don't really see it. I think if I walk close enough, I'll start seeing it from where I park. But it's like it's just in the city is in that period where there's stability and just calmness. The Walmart doesn't need a cop hanging out all day at the front entrance. They don't need security patrols going up and down the lanes. They don't need the blue light, the cameras in the parking lot. I don't see broken packages in the inside the Walmart. It's pretty laid back. I think that since this is the gateway to the oil fields, that there's that influence. There's affluence. The houses look pretty nice. They look modest. They don't look like extravagant from what I've seen so far. And I think the oil is and I think the oil is paid for this park that I'm hanging out at. It's dedicated to a person, but I think that person probably was kind of an oil baron. Maybe they had an oil pump on their property. Oh, it is definitely a bad sign when there's security at the Walmart. I mean, yeah, it's needed. Security is helpful and all that to prevent crime, but it also tells me that there's been a problem. That's why they've hired these people. If you live in an area, if you go to a Walmart that needs security, you're living in a bad area. That's pretty obvious, because there's some Walmarts that they get so quiet, or even if it's kind of busy, the people are pretty honest about. I mean, yeah, I don't know how people feel about the $6 milk and the $7 eggs, because that's what I'm seeing here. People are taking it in different. People react to the price increases in different ways. Some people will dig down deep and just pay for it, or others will just break out, maybe trying to trash the Walmart or just steal more often to make up the whatever, to balance their own books. People balance their own books in different ways. Some people resort to crime, and others will I don't know what, just find ways to save the money. Oh yeah, this is hurricane country. Alert. Security, they don't use the anti-theft. Yeah, there's different security setups. Sometimes you'll see socks in glass cases. Yeah, this area gets flooded for sure. It's not just New Orleans that floods. This area probably floods. There was a period, I've been here a few days. There was a period where it's getting kind of dry. Like this area, at this park I'm hanging out at, the grass has always got pools of water. There's grass that can just live in pools of water. Nice green grass. And there's just pools of water in spots, and it was starting to dry out for a little bit. It didn't rain for a few days, so the pools of water were actually starting to dry out. But now it rained last night, so they're probably back. But there's constant pools of water all over the place, and there's a grass that can handle that. It looks just like it could be submerged for. There's grass that could be submerged for days and still, after the water dissipates, it's still doing pretty good. South of I-10, yeah, there's supposed to be, in Louisiana, I've been reading some signs. There's supposed to be a difference between Cajun and Creole, and the Cajuns are the swamp people, but there's parts of Louisiana, just, not, it doesn't have to be the north half of Louisiana, but in the south half, there's northern south half Louisianans who live on more grassland and less swampland. So they're distinct from the swampland Cajuns, and in their lifestyle and stuff. How much will feed? I don't know how much feed chickens. I've seen some chickens in backyards in places. It's spotty. Oh man, yeah. There's a Stein store. The Steins, I think, is like maybe a farming outlet. They might have baby chicks in their store. I've been to stores that they'll sell baby chicks year round. I think year round. just kind of scoop them up, scoop however many chicks you want up, and uh, yeah, uh, yeah, take and use them for however you need. Um, so this area is nice. It has nice weather. It's I looked on for Wisconsin, for Rice Lake, Wisconsin, because that's almost straight north of me, and that's in the 20s, and and this is in the 50s, so it's a nice 30-degree difference, which is significant. It's great for this time of year, but I wouldn't want to be here in the dead of summer, because apparently I just learned today on it was either Instagram or on TikTok, the white people with narrow noses, my nose warms up the air, whereas black people with the wider noses and larger nostrils, they cool down the air that hits their brain. I developed a nose for warming up the air in colder weather, and then there's races of people who have developed noses for cooling down the air as they breathe. So I can't handle the hot weather as well as other people. Simply based on my nose shape. I mean, that's how eagles, they gotta have their nose uh, peaked down and all that. They gotta have their nose shaped in a way so they can handle that rush of air coming at them. They can't have eagles can't have big nostrils as they're flying through the air. So, and it's cold up there. They fly so high up. You went to Louisiana Court of Appeals. Did the officer refuse to allow you inside without an ID? They know who I was, so I didn't need an ID. Yeah, that Third Circuit Appeals Court across the street, there's like 8-story tall apartments, and there's like five 8-story tall apartments, maybe 200 apartments in each apartment building. There's like 5 of them. It's just this massive structure, and it all looks abandoned across the street from this Third Circuit Court of Appeals. And apparently one of the buildings is turned into a halfway house, but the rest look abandoned. They've even fenced them off. They got this huge apartment complex structure, and it's all just pretty much abandoned except for one building. I thought that was interesting. When I was hanging out at the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, I got there a little early, at about a little after 8 a.m., and they don't open till 8:30. Yeah, there's probably a lot of parts of Lake Charles that are abandoned. Just in this city, walking around the downtown, it's pretty quiet, but they got all their lights on. There are some people sometimes that pass by. It's pretty amazing. And it's not the first city I've been to that, like Lubbock, Texas, downtown. It's just like they got all these buildings and they light everything up, and there's no activity around. And there are some abandoned buildings and stuff. It's really interesting to me to go to some cities, to find the downtown so quiet. Other cities are not. It's not for all cities though. Other cities are just incredibly busy. They attract all kinds of people, and it's just you'll see, you pass by crowds of people, and it's just it's interesting. It's just how people migrate. Groups of people. There's just amazing migrations happening that are just too hard to predict. Build it and they will come. Sometimes they don't come. Like these baseball fields I'm hanging out at, they're nicely manicured and all of that, but just not really. Well, there was practice about 6 p.m. or so. in some of the fields, so people are still using them. They'll crowd in. People like to have a party, and the sports people are in the sports like to have those parties. They'll just all meet in the same spot at the same time. So you just got this huge crowd hanging out. They'll even struggle to find places to park because they just have so many people crowding into the one spot at the set time. But in between that time, it's perfectly quiet. That's baseball parks for you, though. They can have these huge parking lots that are just completely, they seem completely dead, and then the next minute just suddenly lines of trains of cars coming in and filling up the whole parking lot, and there's people circling around trying to find a parking spot. It's just incredible how that works. That's scheduling events and working with that. There's TV moths, I suppose. The moths are attracted to the light. And the insect activity here is, well, I haven't seen it actually in this town, but the previous town, there was just mosquitoes that all over that were just awful. I was getting attacked too much, and these mosquitoes are pretty, like they rely on the nighttime a lot. Some were attacking me in the daylight, but when night came, it's just incredible how bad the mosquitoes can get. They forced me inside my car, and I'd sit in my car and I'd see 5 mosquitoes on my window just staring at me. They're just there's some places I think this whole area is going to be bad for mosquitoes, but then this city is not that bad. Maybe it's because it's a little cooler now. When I got up to about 80s, it was pretty bad. But mosquito, I don't see any flies. Maybe they're come out. Mosquitoes and ants, and then there's this. I think it's a bug, the mud bug, that makes like almost like gopher holes, but they do it a little differently. There's no gophers around here. It's too soggy, but there's this bug has taken over the role of the gopher, and it's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's neat to see the difference in the landscape around here, and I want to explore more, but I'm not really in that much of a rush to move east, because that's all I'm doing. I'm not moving any further south. It's just all wildlands south of here along the coast, and I really would like a kind of a destination, or I'm just going to need to research more on the map and figure out any spots to hang out. So I'm not sure. Yeah, there's no gophers around here. Your dog would be digging for these insects or crustaceans or whatever they are that dig holes. And as I was coming south down here, I was learning in the museums that there's a lot of like clams, and they did a lot of they gathered a lot of oysters. They're pearls. There's a lot of pearl gathering. So there's the bottom feeders. They thrive in these muddy waters around here, in these swampy, muddy waters. But I think the clams prefer rivers over lakes. I'm not sure exactly. But there's a lot of flowing water anyway for them all. There ain't no salmon. I don't believe there's any salmon around these parts. Not like in Washington. There's a different kind, like alligators and stuff, and there used to be alligator fish, gator fish. Yeah, I guess I could do oysters, do something with oysters. I was eating the canned oysters a lot, but I gave that up. No. It seems for catfish, it seems like the catfish are very popular in Oklahoma, but I don't know about around these parts. the catfish are going to be different. But it seems like in southern Oklahoma, the catfish are most popular. And then, there's places where catfish don't do so great. So it's hard. You just really what you do is you got to look at the fish hatcheries and see what they're growing, what kind of fish are being raised at the fish hatcheries, because that'll give you an idea of what's going to be in the local lakes, because they're stocking the lakes with the fish hatchery fish. Usually they're driving these fish out, and the fish hatcheries in Washington, they'll grow the salmon a lot, but the fish hatcheries don't raise salmon in these parts. And I've passed a few fish hatcheries, but I never really stopped. Like trout is more popular in these parts, through Missouri and whatever. Um, it's something it's very interesting to me, but I haven't been really engaged in learning about what's being raised at the fish hatcheries. I'm starting to notice a pattern of the different kinds of fish for the different regions of the country going on. Yeah, mosquito bites are no fun, and it's like I'll catch a mosquito inside here, and if it's easy to kill, usually it's full of my blood because it's slowed down by the weight. And I'll have blood splatter on my windshield, my window, because of that mosquito. It'll have bitten me, and I didn't know it, and it's trying to escape, but it's stuck in my car with me, and then I have best opportunity to catch it before it gets away. So I'm getting bitten. People like rainbow trout. Yeah, I haven't had fish in a while. I don't know how healthy I am at this point. I haven't had meat in months. I've mostly just been cooking eggs, which, I wonder with these eggs. I bought these yesterday, so these eggs have been sitting in my car uncooked all day yesterday. I intend to cook them today. Could I do that with meat? I don't think so. Buy some meat and let it sit in my car all day, and then cook it the next day. I think it might go bad, but I'm not as scared of that with eggs. I'll preserve my milk. I keep my milk in containers to keep them cool. I do the mosquito, so the milk takes a little more insulation, but the eggs, I expose them to the elements, and yeah, I don't think I want to leave flesh. I don't think I would want to do that with meat. It would just turn sour in a way, and not taste as good. It's like sometimes I'll sit on it for a day on the eggs, not cooking them, cook them, and then sometimes take me a couple of days to eat them all. And the shell, sometimes I'll let them sit in water, and the shell will lose its color. But I haven't noticed myself getting sick. I don't think my burping problem has resulted from bad eggs. So yeah, and for ice, I'm not really buying ice. I don't buy ice this time of year. Eggs lose a grade. Yeah, eggs. For living in my car, eggs are the best I can do for traveling and stuff. For lazy cooking, for opportunistic cooking. I don't have a standard kitchen, and I don't like cooking. I don't like cooking in the Walmart parking lot. I do sometimes. I don't like cooking in police station parking lots, but I have done it. It's cooking, and it's like I don't feel as under pressure with eggs to cook them right away. Like with when I was eating catfish, I felt more under pressure to cook it right away and eat it right away too, because before cooking it can spoil fast, and after cooking it can spoil fast, and that changes the taste of it. And I've eaten some kind of spoiled catfish in the summertime. After I cooked it, it tasted like it's fermented a little bit, and it scares me. It scares me a little bit with eggs, but not much. Okay, thanks for stopping, Trish. Well, you could use steak-based protein powders. There's steak-based protein powder. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing okay with strength. Pepperoni and cheese. Oh my God. Yeah, cheese gives me heart attacks now. I can't do cheese. Butter gives me heart attacks. Um, just anything. The coconut oil was giving me heart attacks. That's an industrial lubricant. I use it as for my bike chain. I don't consume that stuff. I was doing peanut butter for the longest time. I've eaten a lot of seed oils, and now there's a lot of videos going out about the harms of seed oil. I did too many seed oils when I was younger. Lucky to have survived that. The partially hydrogenated and the hydrogenated. I've done them for a long time, but I eventually realized it was not smart. Pepperoni's horrible for indigestion. Yeah, it raises the blood pressure, and it's tough on the circulation. I've gotten fat off of pepperoni in the past with all that added fat as preservative. I'm done with that. There's a lot of things I've given up on, like sugar extracts. That was the main one. And then trying to figure out how to form a diet without sugar extracts. I was eating a lot of pork and beef and all that stuff. But after living in my car, yeah, no more deli. Definitely no more deli meats. Man, no more cheeses. A microwave. Yeah, I've given up a lot, and a lot of it is just because of living in the car and storage. I got a lot of storage, a lot of stuff stored that's dried foods. I want to cook barley today. I got to cook barley today. It's been a long time. I want to do that. This it causes a lot of gas, but I still believe that barley is good for the lymphatic system. It stimulates the lymph fluids. So yeah, I'm gonna be living in my car and for many more years. So I got my future is living in this car, is living in a car or a vehicle. Since this one's holding up, this is it. If I had to get another car, then I would have to rip out everything. That'd be a lot of work. It's a lot of work to rip out all that worthless stuff that's added to cars these days. I mean, I like electronics a lot. I let all the wires are exposed in my car, but I like electronics. I would keep the electronics, but there's just so many things added to cars these days that are so worthless. They have too many features. I'd really like to get rid of that AC unit. I think that's probably 20 pounds right there. Save on that weight. Oh, I finally burped. That was stuck for the longest time. Yeah, I have a little bit of money in savings, but man, it's and I think I could buy another car. I have enough money to buy another car if I wanted to right now, but I mean, I need to have enough money to buy two more cars like this. I paid about 6,000 or 8,000, 6 or 8,000 for this car in 2008. And yeah, I could do that again, I suppose, but I'm not in any rush to get another vehicle. I'll just stick with this for as long as I can. Just pay for their whatever repairs come up. I got it. Last thing I did for this car was I got a new tire. Yeah, I got an oil change coming up in maybe 1,000 miles or so. But yeah, I just kind of work with this car. It's really it's getting better for me. Um, Really, I should be on my feet outside of the car. I get frustrated so sometimes when I park in a spot where I wish that it was there was less people around, but there aren't. And I sit in my car and I'm like, man, I could use and I want to exercise, but there's too many people around in this spot I'm parked. And I look on the map and I don't see anything for 5 miles around. So I try to search a 5 mile radius. Is there a park nearby? Like you say, I'm at a parking lot in a library parking lot and just hanging out. I'll search a 5 mile radius to see if there's any parks that I could go to get out and stretch my legs, use my sticks and exercise. But even when I go to parks, I get the cops called on me. Now I got this video on my cop channel exercising with my smallest sticks, my 5-footers, doing various exercises, shoulder exercises and various pulls and stuff, actually running with my stick. I was running like a warrior with my stick, skipping, and I was pulling the ends, trying to pull the ends apart, trying to pull it apart, and holding it there, rocking back and forth, really brings blood flow to the shoulders and actually increases my breathing too. I breathe heavier just by pumping up the shoulders. Running while holding a stick is a heck of an exercise, and I actually enjoy running. You'd buy a high top. Yeah, I'd like. See, the thing is, from these murder cases I've been hearing about, with the Gabby Patillo murder and then the Idaho murders. I'm learning about things that other people use that I find interesting that I'd like to use. I didn't really give the Ford Transit much thought, but after hearing about Gabby Petito's murder, and they drove around in a Ford Transit, I was looking in the Transits. I'm like, that's cool. They had a 2012 Transit for as they traveled around. I'm like, man, I could go for something like that. So it's kind of it's kind of a backhanded way of selling us on products that these in these scenarios that they were using. And then with the Idaho murders, I'm like, the murderer used a K-bar or marine knife, and I'm like, man, I could go for a knife like that. I got a kind of a smaller knife, but this is bigger. I've been using this knife I found on the road for years, and now I've upgraded. Yeah, it's the murders that I want to be like those murderers. But yeah, I got a knife that I use pretty much is for shaving the bark off of these pine trees that I now use for my exercise sticks. But all my exercise sticks, I need to remove the bark. Yeah, and having a nice big Rambo style knife is useful for that. This little pocket knife it's awful for shaving bark off of trees, for shaving bark off of sticks. I've been constantly scraping my fingers. These ends of these fingers, as I'm scraping the bark off, I'm constantly scraping the skin off of my fingers. So getting a bigger knife has been very helpful for that. But I mean, that's a temporary thing, because I got the sticks I want now. 2 5-foots, 2 6-foots, and 2 7-foots, and they take up a heck of a lot of space. Yeah, Knuckles, the 7-foot extends in a way that's not exactly easy to deal with, but I do deal with it. So, what's your favorite murderer? Uh, this this I figured out. I removed the handle. This is an accident, removing this handle, but whatever. Uh, and now I got a strap and some carabiners to hold the 7-foots in place. The 6-foots have their own strap, and then I can just easily slip in the 5-footers. So I'm keeping the sticks stable. They're not just rolling around in the car like in the past. I want to make sure that they're secure. Yeah, I've learned a lot about various murderers over the years, and through books early on. But now people are making great YouTube videos, like that chapter, or what is Coffee House Crimes still making videos? Man, I haven't seen any in my feed lately. Try to get away from people. It's like you're trying to eliminate stress. I said, yeah, I'm frustrated with people at times. I have my ups and downs. When I'm relaxed, it's no big deal. I need to get away from people just to exercise. And well, it just depends. Like, it just depends on the scenario. But when I got exercise energy, because I'm not a schedule. I don't schedule exercising. I'm an impulsive exerciser, just like impulsive eating. I'm impulsive in every way. All right, I don't schedule anything. I'll sleep, and if I wake up with a lot of energy, I want to get out and get that exercise. I want to impulsively take care of that. It's an issue that I want to take care of immediately. I don't want to, like, there's some people, they schedule their gym times 3 o'clock every day or noontime every day. Yeah, Coffee House Crimes has kind of slowed down his production value. But yeah, I'm more impulsive with wanting to take care of energy. It's like I get thirsty, I want to drink. I got this ball of energy, I want to just let it out. Sometimes I can't because I'm, like in a Walmart parking lot, and it's very frustrating. So I was trying to search out places to go to let out that impulsive energy, and then just hang out there too. I really enjoy. Oh. I really enjoy being able to hang out in places, build up that energy, and just let it out. Yeah, I watch a lot of police activity. It makes the cops look good. So, I mean, you got Lackluster, who wants to make all cops look bad, or James Freeman, or Long Island Audit, make all the cops look bad. And then you got police activity that wants to make all cops look good. And yeah, there do people really want to camp in on one particular viewpoint of cops? There's different. I'm in the middle. It just on an individual basis and situational basis too. I don't want to deal with criminals. I don't want to deal with bad cops. Just all that stress. Yeah, schedules are no fun. Coffee House is still making oh, really? Okay, well, I got 120 videos downloaded, so, and that's more than enough for me. Oh, James, you watch makeup how to apply makeup and mascara and lipstick. See, that's the thing. There's certain things I'll never see in my feed, and it's a lot of how to dress properly and put on makeup, weddings and get parties and gatherings. I just those don't really ever show up in my feed. I don't really watch hardcore survival stuff, so that doesn't show up in my feed. But some people really like to watch that. Coffee House Crimes. I've been watching a ton of criminal, just criminal stories, learning about that lifestyle. Coffee House Crimes. Yeah, it's a yeah, 3 days ago. See, the problem with all these criminal channels coming out is that they're telling the same story. They're talking about the same people a lot of times, and they're just telling their story in their own ways. Sometimes like a one criminal channel will talk about the same person, but show a little bit more of maybe the police interrogation, or a little bit more of the security video, or focus in on a different part of their backgrounds. There's you get the same murderers, but just a slightly different story about them. But still, the general idea is there. And I don't really like to watch stories about the same murderers on 5 different channels. All right, just one story is fine enough for me. But just sometimes there's just so many murderers out there. Over the years, they've gotten so much information about so many murderers, and it's hard. Sometimes it takes me halfway. I get halfway through a video where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this murderer, and I'll just stop watching. I'm like, I know what happens, because as I've learned, they've just been putting out so much. There's so many murderers. There's so many stories to tell about them. Yeah, crime stuff is popular. They have so many stories. There's this. It's active. There's updates sometimes to current stuff, and then you learn about the old stuff. And yeah, I've always, yeah, it's just like war stories, whatever. It's things that make me appreciate life. Pretty much, uh, um, I'll I'll go to 4chan and watch and go through some of the topics there. And I'll be upfront that I looked at the wrecked. There's sometimes people start a wrecked post, or kind of a gore, and you'll see reality. It's reality, but YouTube will not allow this reality to be shown on their platform. But it's underground, like sometimes 30-second clips or a minute clip. You'll see some horrific stuff. People, knife fights and whatever. Somebody resulting in, somebody ending up dead. And it can be talked about on YouTube, but it can't be shown. You don't want to see blood splurting all over the place on video. That's not good for commercialization. Uh, it's best. It's still left to the underground. And I mean, it was easier to access back in the early 2000s. Video quality was not as good, but as video quality improves, there's more suppression about platforms and how this type of activity is portrayed. Watch the Explorer with Us. At channel concentrates on interrogation and analyzes crime shows. Do get, oh yeah, this I don't want to learn about. There's only so much I can learn about, I don't know, Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't want to see another crime channel try to tell their story, their version of events. Like even the TV show or movie where somebody made a TV show about Jeffrey Dahmer or whatever. I pretty much have a good idea of what happened with that situation. I don't need to see a complete recreation of it with the actor trying to act all crazy. There's a bestgore.com. Yeah, there's websites out there let you show these videos. But I mean, Walmart blocks it. Um, and apparently in Louisiana now, if I wanted to even go on my hotspots to check out Pornhub, now there's a block for that. Even on my own hotspots, I have to go through like a age verification with this. I think a Louisiana pornography law went into effect on January 1st, and it targeted Pornhub directly. So there's some kind of, they need your identification on Pornhub now. So when I leave this state, I think Louisiana is the only state that has that. I shouldn't be getting this blocked. I shouldn't be getting this message when I leave Louisiana, because that, the computers know I'm in the States, so Pornhub knows. So I just, when I leave, it should stop giving me that blocked message just crossing the border. Yeah, VPN is what, $6 a month. Yeah, there's websites that are so messed up the libraries will block them, and the libraries don't say on their blocked message, uh, this is an unauthorized website. You are not allowed. They don't say that directly. They confuse you with their blocked messages saying, sorry, this website doesn't work right now. And you'll get that message at every library. Sorry, this message, or this website is like down or something. It's like, you're like, oh, all right, I'll try later. And I try later, and it's still down, I try a month later, it's still down. A couple months, a year later, it's still down. It's been going on for years now with these blocked messages, and it took me a while to realize. But they're just trying to be polite about blocking these websites. And I gotta say, at this city with the two libraries across the street from each other, both libraries are blocking comments on YouTube. I can't comment on YouTube with either library. I didn't confront the librarians on this, but I know it's intentional. It's like comments are disabled, and it was comments in chat and comments in the discussion forum. They'll disable these things. Had porn on computer in Louisiana, take them to court. Yeah, defamation. Yeah, it's an allegation. So that's as far as they could go with it. I mean, what I got a lifetime ban from that library, from Officer Davis. Well, and then I guess confirmed by Officer, whatever her name is, LaQuinta Davis and Favors pretty much gave me a lifetime ban. I mean, the librarians are the ones who ultimately chose to ban me for life. But it was a result of Officer Davis and Favors, and their allegations that there's porn on my computer, which you can't see it on their body cams. They need better body cams if they want to, and they just didn't secure the scene. You could see Officer Favors just close the lid of my laptop. That was securing the scene, shutting my computer up. Maybe they tried to open it up to see if they could access my computer again later, to find that I had a password. But they didn't record that part. They shut off their body cams throughout most of my when I was sitting at the police station, sitting chained up to a bench. Let's see. Yeah, I don't download the gore. I used to download everything, the funny stuff off of 4chan, the gore. Now all I download is porn now, and mainly from Reddit. It's like Walmart. Nobody blocks porn on Reddit, the libraries, Walmart. I guess maybe it's because it's harder to reach, harder to get to, but and it's not as well known. But there's a lot of subreddits that are porn related on Reddit, and I just go there. It's not high quality stuff that you get from the big production agencies, but man, there's thousands and thousands of people who want to show off their bodies, and they'll do it for free. They'll share their bodies for free, and who's not willing to look at other people's bodies? So, uh, every so often I'm not. It's not something I have to do all the time. And there's uh like channels, or there's people who just there's people who want to show off their bodies, and then there's people who preach that we should never look at porn. Don't ever look at porn uh, because it weakens you and all that. But I look at it as it's just another art form. It's art. Don't pretty much if you don't want people to look at porn, you nip it. You go to the source. You say, never look at art. Don't ever look at any artistic portrayals. So you just you want to not don't appreciate any art at all. It could be sexual, so stay away from it. Stay out of the art museums and art galleries, because it could provoke a thought in your head that's not appropriate. But it's all art to me. I don't know why people want to categorize pornography as something other than art. It's a yeah. So however you look at your visual, whatever your eyes can see the visual stuff, and then whatever thoughts come into your head upon that sight. Everybody's got a different perspective. The same different eyes can look at the same thing and have different thoughts. We all have different experiences in life and have different reactions to visual stimulus. But yeah, that news story of the two gay guys who are abusing their children, that's chilling to learn about. With all this acceptance about the LGBT community, it'd be nice for them to address the issue with adoption and the abuses that have come out from adoption now. That's very concerning. I mean, there's guys talking about how if just only women raise the children, that could be disastrous in a lot of ways, because women are not as I mean, women are great for the early years, but then later in life, for I don't know, develop more adult development, just only women raising children can result in, I don't know, but now we got gay guys raising children and having issues. There's issues with that too. It's really down to the personalities. Yeah, two dads or two moms. It's comes down to more factors than just the sexes. It's the community. It takes, like Hillary Clinton says, it takes a village to raise a child, but I think that was said before her. There's a lot of factors involved with the environment and the community and how the community is able to thrive. And I think the gay community. You don't see gay communities in small towns, so these are issues in big cities, and they live the most extreme lifestyles you'll find. They're louder. They're more they're more specialized. You could have you could just have a store where you only sell CBD, or you could have a store that specializes in only repairing like sinks. You just the sink repair store. You could just have just one small specialty that's so extreme in the big city, and it's just it's because there's so much potential for business. But in smaller towns, people have to be a little bit more adaptable to a wider variety of trades and talents. So yeah, people live more extreme in the big cities. I bet those two gay guys were living in a big city. I didn't catch I don't know the whole background, but that type of extreme behavior is what you find in the big cities, 100,000 plus. Not so much the small towns, but there's it's just, I don't know, it's just less often in small towns. It's not as pronounced. People aren't as loud. But I mean, then there's so many factors involved. I mean, what is the populace? What is the demographics? Is it an older city? Is it a small? Are the people older? And is it a retirement city, or is it a city for like college town? There's so many factors. I don't prepare enough when I go to new cities. I don't know exactly what to expect. It's always a surprise. Usually a surprise. I'll go to a park on the outskirts of a city, thinking, "Oh, this park is on the outskirts. It's probably pretty quiet," and then it gets packed. There's just tons of people who show up, and it surprises me. And then other cities, I go to the same park on the outskirts of the city, and nobody shows up the whole day. It's just amazing. It's hard to predict, and I find out in the moment. I'm doing what I learned about in college. Heinze, when your computer is shut, does it lock? Yeah, everything shuts. Everything is locked. Oh, got the burp out. I can breathe. So yeah, it's such a surprise. I once I know, well then that knowledge is maybe good for the next 5 years, and then things could change. And so I know 10 years ago what it's like to live in Washington, but that was 10 years ago. It's probably changed quite a bit now, from Bellingham to, I don't know, the whole coast and then the inner parts. It's changed. People have grown up, and the younger kids are now have gotten into more adult years. For what I've experienced in the city, interactions, watching interactions, how people, the type of music that people listen to has changed. The truck bangers that hang out in parking lots, they're not as formidable here. There's maybe one or two of these truck bangers that like to squeal their tires and just hang out all night in the parking lot of Walmart. There's only like one or two of them here, or just the fancy race cars. But in other cities, they need the police called on them. There's such a large crowd of them. It's the demographics. We just go through, and then there's some cities that you may not see a single truck banger, or whatever they're called. I don't know. They're rebels in some way. What's on the body cam from the officer? Closing your computer is the only thing the officers have seen. Yeah, whatever the officer favors. You see her walk up and just close the computer. She didn't secure the scene. She wasn't told to secure any scene because there's no scene to secure. They just they were only focused on my ID. But what the heck? Let's throw in some afterthoughts about the scene too, to make me look as bad as possible. Because I mean that's what they do. They stole my magnets. They ran my Samsung S9 battery down to 0, and this battery is in bad shape. I don't even carry this thing around anymore. I'm only sticking with the S20 now because the S9 is pretty much dying too much. Well, now look at this. And see, I'm at 81%. And if I didn't have it on airplane mode, it would be at like 0. All right, overnight. It's still at 81%. So I'm confused about the battery life of this phone. I'm testing it out. I shut it off, turn it on, I see the battery's still good. I put it in airplane mode, and it's still pretty good. I wonder if I'm being listened to, because that takes power to do. This is an older phone. It's probably less secure than the S20. And every so often, the battery will just drain. And it's possible that I'm getting tapped into. And they're and because I leave it on the Wi-Fi a lot. So I could be getting tapped into with the listening device, and they're draining my battery for that. And this would be more like at 20%. In the past couple of weeks now, it's really yeah. They're turning on the camera, and they're maybe searching my phone remotely, but something's happening where they're periodically the battery's just getting drained. But it didn't last night. I had it on airplane mode, so it's strange. I don't know what to think of that exactly. Are older phones getting tapped into? I think Edward Snowden would say yes. Um, she said nothing about what was on your computer. Yeah, I don't think Favor saw anything. She said in the transcripts, the trial transcripts, that she had to look away because she saw something bad. But you see on my cameras that she didn't look away in disgust. She was just kind of looking before even the moment happened. So I don't believe that she looked away in disgust. But that's what she said, is because they ramped up everything. They ramped up the lies at my trial for everything. The banging in the library just got more intense every time they told it at trial. But you don't really get that. You don't really catch the impact of the elevation of the banging on the transcripts alone. You'd actually have to have listened to the prosecutor, because he was getting louder every time. He went back to the banging in the library like 3 separate times, and each time he got more exaggerated with it. At the end, the last time he mentioned the banging in the library, he banged on the table so hard he knocked the pencil onto the floor. He was exaggerating it every time, just trying to ramp up. It's crazy how they want to prosecute people. How they wanted to prosecute me over this. And I mean, I don't know the answer to whether or not I'm going to get charged with witness intimidation. They want to have things hang over me so much, like they have control over me. So yeah, we can't call in to complain about this yeah, then maybe they could run my story through Chat GPT, because in Chat GPT you could run you could run my story 3 separate ways. You can influence the story like it's a biased newspaper. You could write me in a good way, in a positive way. It's like, hey, Chat GPT, take this story and make it look good. Or, hey, Chat GPT, take this story and make it look neutral. Or, hey, GPT, make this story and make it look bad. And it does it instantly. You can change, like, I don't know, I talk about, I don't know, Little Red Riding Hood. You can make Little Red Riding Hood look good, neutral, or bad. Just with Chat GPT. It's all it's an interesting program, but I don't have a phone, so I can't access it. I can't. You need a phone number to access it. But yeah, they're talking about there's that that lawyer company that said they want to take Chat GPT all the way to the Supreme Court and make arguments there. They're willing to pay $1 million for somebody to do that, to prove that Chat GPT can out argue a lawyer, and it's pretty good. I was saying that for like last week I was saying that I thought Chatbot was like a retarded uncle of Chat GPT, but I finally go to check Chatbot, and they've gone all commercial. You can't even interact with Chatbot anymore. 10 years ago, you could play with chatbots and interact and talk, and I could tell it was a fake. Some people actually thought that was somebody behind the screen, but I was sure that it was fake. But chatbot was exciting back in 2013 to 2012, and it was free, and you could just interact on it. But now you go to it, and they're trying to sell it to institutions. They don't even let you engage with it. They just say, this is something. This is a product that's for sale now. It's no longer a free service to play with. Like you pretend you have a friend online and you could just chat with. Now you got to pay for that friend. You can also specify it even more. You can say, write Travis Heinze story as little. Oh yeah, I could be Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, that's amazing. That's pretty creative, and that'd be fun to play with. I've had other people like Vince McCucumber. I asked him to go on the Chat GPT and write Judge Ousley's verdict statement, his speech that he gave, summarize it. Summarize Judge Ousley's sentencing statement, and I thought that was interesting. I like that summary thing. I suppose summary is maybe more for books, and because yeah, the summary isn't exact though, because the summary didn't even mention my 30 days in jail. It focused on my fine, but I thought it was pretty fair. Microsoft is investing in Chat GPT. I like the AI stuff. It's pretty fun. It's nice to be able to look at things in a different way instantly too. Like, oh, I'm having trouble learning this concept. Let's just run it through Chat GPT, have it reworded, and see what comes up. It's almost like type it into French, translate it into French, and then translate that back into English, and you get like maybe a different way of looking at it. There's different ways to look at things. If you want to learn concepts, you could have them translated, or the Chat GPT. But I mean, Chat GPT is just another chat bot, but with added features, of course. Chatbot was only a back and forth thing. You couldn't say, hey chatbot, do this for me, and you give them this big statement, summarize this. Chatbot wouldn't summarize anything. It'd be like customer service. Chatbot is designed for customer service, that type of business. And now all this customer service, all this stuff that businesses are paying for when they automated their telephones, when we called in to ask questions, and we got put on an automated operator who would run us through the list of options. Now we can put them we could put them on our automated call. We could automate our call. Just say, hey, Chat GPT, make a complaint about customer service at this store, and say you have Chat GPT call in, and they go through all the options, and with the automated caller, and then you can have that back and forth, kind of just like what they're talking about, where they could have two AI lawyers argue it out with each other to try to arrive at the best solution. Yeah, you gotta pay. There's a free version and there's a paid version. Yeah, Chat GPT, all these AIs are for the rich people too. It's gonna be more controlling over poor people who don't have the resources to afford this type of AI, because you need a phone number. I don't even have a phone number. And then there's the paid version too, if you're willing to pay. Poor people aren't going to be so willing to pay for that. We're paying enough, $6 for milk and $7 for eggs. Paying over $10 for milk for a dozen eggs and a gallon of milk. Um, you know, it's getting difficult for me. It's keeping me in my car longer, because I don't have any other revenue stream besides YouTube. So I'm really reliant on the videos I produce, and it's surprising how well this last video did in Kinder, yes, OnlyFans, Kinder, Louisiana. That video is now got 140,000 views in a few days. That's unusual. I was put on the front page of YouTube to get those type of views. That's pretty impressive. So that's like $140 right there for just like a random conversation that I recorded on the GoPro Max. Just, you know, use the magnets to sit on top and record. I tried to record on this phone, and as the cop was pulling towards me, I was recording that a little bit, but then I hit like the button and stopped recording. So the whole conversation I didn't even capture on this phone. But luckily I had the Max up as a backup, and that was good. Imagine all the poor people who are caught without cameras on them as cops interrogate them. I'm able to catch. I see my success on my cop channel is that I'm more likely to catch the cop interaction early and all the way through than the average person. I'm above average on capturing my cop interactions. I think most people tend not to get their cop interactions recorded. And I mean, clearly the cop was not recording himself. He just stayed in his car, and if he had his dash cam on, which was unlikely, that wasn't even pointing at me. He was just kind of I was catching him on the side of his vehicle. So all the recording was on me, and not a lot of people would record that. But I'm more sensitive to it, since it can result in arrests for me. I'm more sensitive to needing to. I'm more sensitive to just anybody who approaches me in general. Anyway, if I'm like minding my own business, kind of off in the distance, and somebody starts approaching me, like I start reaching for my camera, start going to record, no matter who it is. It doesn't matter. It's just I don't feel like I have to hide recording when it's a cop, as much as if it's a individual, as much as it's just a general person, like even a librarian. I try to be more sneaky about recording librarians. Yeah, how do I find more revenue streams? I was thinking maybe I could sell slippery elm bark. Anybody want to buy any slippery elm bark? This is a great water-based lubricant. Smells good. This is old too. That's the thing. I've been holding on to slippery elm since Williston, North Dakota. I mean, it could last a long time. It dries out good and it lasts a long time. You just get it wet and it gets all gooey and slippery. It's great for the skin. Water-based lubricants. There's not enough. There's the water-based lubricants sold in Walmart are too expensive, and then in those small bottles. Slippery elm, you could just get a lot. And that commercial-based slippery elm that you buy in the bulk, if you wanted to buy from Frontier Co-op in the bulk, they add like the wood and the outer bark. It's like they use a machine and just scrape it as fast as they can, and they throw everything in. It's awful. I carefully extract only the middle bark, pulling off the outer bark and not not adding any wood. So I'm carefully by hand harvesting the slippery elm for my own use. So since it's for my own use, I'm more careful with how I extract it. And I can only get it in the north. There is absolutely no slippery elm in the south. I'm not aware of any trees. Yeah, I'll turn on multiple cameras. Yeah, I got a multiple kitchen. I've been keeping this this top on my propane now because the couple of propane bottles ago it was just leaking, and the only way I could stop the leaking is by keeping the top on. So I've been doing that. I have to be extra careful with that, keeping the top on. But that's, it's a big part of my lifestyle, cooking. Even though it's what, like $5 or $6 a bottle now. Since I started traveling, I think it's doubled in price for the propane. But yeah, I got a mobile kitchen. Yeah, the bathroom is my Stanley thermos. So this is my bathroom now. And I don't ever want it to turn upside down. I got to be very careful about how I handle the business. I've got a pretty good setup in here. I'm mostly happy with it. I just sit too long sometimes. And gotta get, and that's a problem with being in a bad spot. I really can't. It's hard for me to blame. I don't want a mobile showering is a luxury, but it's my biggest problem is where I park. I want to choose the right places to park for some privacy. It only needs to be a couple hours a day sometimes. Because I can nap in public. I can nap when I got cars surrounding me. That's not a big problem. It's when I get the antsy feelings. I got energy that I need to burn. That's when I have a problem. And I need to straighten out my back. This helps, pulling on these straps. That's a nice little stretch. That's my suspension trainer right there. Turn around and then pull with my on my knees. That's nice, but that doesn't work the back of the shoulder enough. I need things that I can resist my knuckles against, and using the sticks helps a lot. Because sometimes I can't lay on the ground and stretch. That's a great stretch. Laying on the ground and then digging my knuckles into the ground. That's great. But it just rained last night. The ground is wet. And where I'm parking, it's gravel. So it's tough. I do carry carpets with me. I could lay carpets out and lay on the ground that way. But sometimes even the ground is too wet for the carpets. Because I sit on them, so I don't want to sit on wet carpets. The carpets are kind of helpful a little bit in some ways, but using the sticks really help. I got some options, but it's yeah. The biggest issue is just finding places. And I don't live in one place for too long. I'm moving different places, so I can be a little frustrated sometimes going to a place that's just way too busy for what I want to do, for how I want to exercise, or if I want to cook. And there may not be anything for the frustrating part is I can't just move across the street or anything. I look on the map, I see in a 5-mile radius, there's nothing that looks attractive that to hang out at. There's outskirts. Every city's got an outskirts. But most of these outskirts are private property. I can't go parking in front of somebody's house. I would get a lot more cop calls if I tried that. If I tried to go out to the outskirts of a city, and just even if there's no parks, just kind of park in kind of a neighborhood on the outside of a city. That's, I don't want that kind of attention. I'm trying to be careful about my activity. The cops have trained me. I still make some mistakes, but there's things I absolutely wouldn't do. Uh, um, I have kind of parked in some kind of neighborhood-ish type areas in the outskirts of cities. Ones that look like they're developing, newly developed. I mean, I've been on some dead-end roads that have been great. Just like practically camping grounds on dead-end roads. Crocodile, okay. There's a Mick Dodge. Yeah, yeah, I can overdo it. Some people try to overdo their, I don't know. Yeah, I can overdo trying to not look suspicious. Yeah, Hobby Lobby is great on Sunday for sure. Yeah, they're closed. Yeah, Saturday nights and Sunday, and they encourage. They are for Hobby Lobby is forgiving of people who park overnight. So yeah, I've been to a few Hobby Lobbies. Tar Not all Targets are great. Downtown Targets you don't want to do, but there's some good Targets. There's various store chains out there. Never Dollar Store, never Dollar General. Their parking lots are too small, and I believe they're hostile to overnight parking. They don't even have bathrooms. They're kind of like the Rite Aids. They're those drug stores. So, no, I'm not doing reality shows. You research. There's a lot of I gotta do a weird. It's hard. Sometimes in my research, I'll just sometimes it'll take me only a minute. I'll look at the next city. I'll see. Oh, that looks like a cool park. Marked. That looks like a nice library. That looks like a nice place to sleep. Marked, marked, marked. Done. Take less than a minute. And then there's other places where I'm like, I could spend an hour trying to figure out where to go, because it's a city that does not look attractive for anywhere to hang out. They don't have park. A lot of these cities that I've been coming through in Louisiana, they're mostly cemeteries, not parks. They have more cemeteries than parks. All cemeteries and no parks. Golf course is not even an option. But it's like some areas are just impossible. I actually just went to a cemetery because it was like a half of it was undeveloped. So I'm like, I'll just settle on this. I'll go park in the cemetery and in the undeveloped part of it where there's no clear gravestones. It could be easy for some places to find good spots to park, and very pretty much impossible to find a good place to park. You just pretty much have to accept that you're going to be dealing with a lot of traffic all around you. And then there's the surprise areas. Like Poplar Bluff. I didn't realize half the town was shut down. Half the town was abandoned in Poplar Bluff. So I could just I just slept on the side of the road next to the old city hall. Yeah, Home Depot and Lowe's. Lowe's has given me a hard. Lowe's resulted in like a disorderly conduct ticket for me in Meridian, Idaho. There was some problems. I had some problems with Lowe's there, so you can't trust those home stores. I've slept at some home repair stores places in the past, but it really just depends on the area and how the people are. I don't want to park next to RVs in any way. Oh man, the RV parks. I mean, in the campground, I don't. Parking lots. The first places I go are the Walmarts, and then if that's not an option, side streets. I parked in Kinder. Was it Kinder? I parked in Kinder where overnight, right in front of the library. There was a side street parking, angled. If it's an angled parking on the side of the street, that's a good spot to park. So I parked in front of the library. There's no Wi-Fi from them, but I had my hotspot anyway. And the McDonald's Wi-Fi reached me because there's a McDonald's on the other side of the library, but McDonald's Wi-Fi is no good. Yeah, I got a disorderly conduct at the Lowe's parking lot in Meridian, Idaho in 2016, and the cop didn't take me to jail for it. He just gave me a ticket. Um, and that was a little revenge for there's 2 nights ago, 2 nights previous, where I had a little argument with the cop about my ID, and he wanted my ID and I wanted his ID, and he just drove away confused. But 2 nights later, I was there again and they got me. Oh my God. Yeah, I've slept next to some terrible chemical plants. There's the one where Officer Barry got me, or gave me a hard time in Minnesota. You don't want to sleep next to 3M plants. That's those my when I get exposed to certain chemicals make everything numb, and I can't think straight and I feel sick and numb. You don't want to sleep next to those. Oh my God. And I've noticed there's like on the map there's some weird colored pools of water in some places. National forest. I tried to sleep in a national forest in northern Minnesota a couple of years ago, but there was a huge forest fire, and suddenly they made it illegal to camp in the forest. And I don't know if they even lifted that ban. They might have just left it in place after that forest fire. They just want to blame campers for everything. One little forest fire happens, and they want to make it illegal for years after that. One event happens at the library, like somebody illegally downloads a movie on the library's Wi-Fi, so they have to shut down the whole Wi-Fi as a result. It's just one person can really cause a lot of issues. Yeah, the environment really has a lot of impact on my health. All right, if I'm sleeping downwind from a semi truck that wants to run all night, I gotta move. I'll get sick. I'm sensitive to exhaust and chemicals. I'm constantly I'm trying to like pay attention, and a lot of times I can't really tell inside the car. I gotta open up the door and smell. I test for the winds, which direction, find out what direction the wind is blowing, and try to figure out if there's exhaust coming my way, where it's coming from, so I can determine where to move. I have a lot of faith in like the prevailing winds. I have a lot of faith that the winds will stay consistent, but they don't always. I just want to assume that the winds will stay the same, at least for the next few hours, so moving can help when I feel sick. And in the sickness, I mean, it's incredible how bad air pollution could get. Not just in the immediate area, but hundreds of miles away. There could be a major forest fire, and I've experienced this in Wisconsin back in 2012. There was a major forest fire in like Canada or something, and I'm breathing in this horrible air, and I'm like, what's going on? It's like, why is the air so bad? Could I go? I was actually renting in a room, but it's like, what do I do? And there's really nothing I could do. It was a forest fire hundreds of miles away, and the smoke was reaching me. In California, though, north of San Francisco, there was a 2018 fire, and the smoke was so bad, my throat was getting sore. I was like, "That's it, I'm done." I drove like 2-3 hours north, and I got out of the smoke range. But you could see that, homeless people were stuck there, breathing this smoke in all day, every day, for days and days from that forest fire in California. And I just hopped in the car and went. I made it all the way to like Trinidad, California, and stopped there, and the air was nice and fresh and clean. And that was the beginning of where the rainy part of the Pacific coast starts, north of Eureka. Eureka's a part of it too. Eureka's in that rainy spot. Oregon, Washington, parts of California. Oh yeah, volcanoes. Yeah, the natural disasters can really cause a lot of issues. I mean, we burn a lot and put a lot of pollution in the air, but those natural disasters, those are tough to listen to. You listen to audiobooks? I don't. No, no, I don't. Just watch YouTube videos. That's about it. Those crime stories don't really require me to watch so much, so I could just turn off the screen sometimes. And I listen to, what is that? This is Monsters. Ever watch that channel? This is Monsters. So this guy, he doesn't really. He's more verbally engaged with telling his story than he is with showing pictures. But he shows pictures. But I could turn off the screen and know what's going on. So, yeah, those are the stories. Those criminals, those killers who kill multiple amounts of people. I mean those pop up in my feed a lot, and I just choose them. I just download them and listen. Um, those are some of the most engaging stories to listen to. I mean, there's better stories to listen to, like successes in business, but I don't know. It's like the horrific details that come out of these murder stories keep me on edge, and I'm like, wow, that's mind-boggling how somebody could do that. But when it comes to successful stories, it's harder to listen to those for some reason. They're not as enthralling. With business. But I've subscribed to some channels on Instagram now where they've increased the Instagram activity for like inspirational quotes and quotes on health and how you can improve yourself and all that. They've really been. I don't know if this is a new thing. I've been getting more feeds from inspirational quotes and how to run a business better, be a better person. I've actually subscribed to these, and more are coming in. It's interesting. And that's how I think that's how I learned about seed oils. Don't consume seed oils, and that's being drilled into our heads. And of course, don't watch porn. Um, there's a lot of these ideas that are being shared a lot, and how to improve your health. Um, there's this guy called Dan Go. I think he's a Korean guy, and he gives some awesome advice. Or there's this one guy on Instagram. He's always crossing his arms and giving medical advice, and he's a redhead guy. It's pretty good. The advice he gives. Yeah. Oh yeah. Spend more time in the sun, of course. Yeah. Seed oils are. I don't really bother. I used to have peanut butter, but you know, there's a big difference. Um, there's a big difference in taste between peanut powder and peanuts. All right. I got peanut powder because there was no peanuts at the store I went to. So I decided to try peanut powder with no sugar added. I'm like, okay, they know what they're doing. They don't add sugar. But they suck out so much. They suck out all the fats from peanut powder. It tastes awful. So I just eat, but they keep the fat in the regular peanuts. And if I want a peanut butter type consistency, every so often I'll crush it in the mortar. So that's my option. It keeps the fat if you get the peanuts in the more whole form. But the peanut powder is awful. But that's assuming I don't abuse. That's assuming I don't abuse the what is it? The roasted nuts. You eat too many roasted nuts, and you weaken your pancreas. So, and I do abuse roasted nuts a little too much. So I gotta watch. You know, I eat a lot of roasted nuts. I gotta try not to do that so much. Yeah, walnuts and raisins. You only want to have, a handful of walnuts a day. I abused walnuts too. That's difficult. See, Rio, the guy who got arrested for marijuana, lost 40 pounds. Fasting is not recommended on Instagram. Those walnuts are a little too much of a superfood. You know, you can abuse those. Yeah, I tried fasting a little bit in the past, and I'm done with that. I'm gonna eat, all right? And if I'm hungry, you know, and I don't really have anything, I just wet some slippery elm and then consume the gel. That satisfies. You don't want to go hungry in any way. You can at least have the gel of the slippery elm. There's actually some nutrition in that. That's how George Washington's army survived Valley Forge when they were struggling in the winter time. They were pulling slippery elm down for the bark in the winter. No, there's oil in these peanuts and the sunflower seeds. They don't add oil, but there's oil in them. You just don't. You got to crush them down, and you'll find that that gets the oily consistency. They don't seem like there's oil in them because they're all dry and stuff. But crush them down in your mortar, and then they'll stick. You know what causes crushed peanuts to stick together? It's the oil. This doesn't stick together because they took all the oil out of this. All right, this dry peanut powder, it can't stick together. There's nothing to make it stick together because they sucked all the oil out. You crush these peanuts down, they'll stick together. They'll stick like peanut butter. But don't abuse the roasted nuts. You gotta watch that too. You can do too much of a good thing. Yeah, I still got the burping problem, and I haven't had any breakfast. Once I have breakfast, I'm gonna start burping like crazy again. It's uncomfortable, and I gotta find a better solution. I think I need to. I want to try my burdock seed a little bit more for it. I haven't noticed immediate results, but I think I'm gonna try using the burdock seed again. I got a lot of it, so it's something that's worth looking into again. I don't want to do apple cider vinegar. I don't like extracts that burned my throat in the past. I don't like that burning feeling. I'd like to avoid that. Lemons is the closest I'll get to that. So more lemons, burdock seed. I'll try those a little bit more. I just need the discipline to stick with it, and yeah, try to follow through. I think I'm gonna stop this here and then yeah, move on. Thanks for visiting.